back up because it goes hand in hand with this article that was released today from Yahoo Sports. It stated more people watch Below the Deck Mediterranean than Unrivaled first game of season 2. Now, y'all see all these shows on TNT. That's 60,000, 50,000, 40,000, 40,000, bruh. 30,000, 20,000, bruh. Come on now. Now, Napheesa Collier was saying how she was landing all of this stuff and doing all of these big things when she was in negotiations. Now, she tried to use
recent developments surrounding Napheesa Collier have raised eyebrows as Unrivaled's viewership numbers decline, with suggestions emerging that she may be attempting to utilize Caitlin Clark's name as a bargaining chip during CBA discussions. The situation has evolved dramatically within just 7 days. Collier had previously stated that through her experience operating a league, she comprehends how audience metrics function and understands the various elements that influence securing media rights agreements and ensuring appropriate player compensation. However, recent data suggests a different story. Building on yesterday's discussion, fresh information from Yahoo Sports reveals a striking comparison. More viewers tuned into Below Deck Mediterranean than Unrivaled Season 2 opener. Various TNT programs drew audiences ranging from 60,000 down to 20,000 viewers.
To use Unrivaled as a way to kind of leverage herself for speaking points. Well, it looked like her speaking points ain't adding up because look at your numbers. You know the old saying, men lie, women lie, and the numbers don't lie. Well, I'm here to tell you, the numbers ain't lying because Napheesa Collier is looking like Goofy of the Year. She got to be the goofiest person of the year. Her and Nika is looking like big-time goofies of the year.
Collier had been promoting her accomplishments and significant achievements during negotiations, attempting to use Unrivaled as evidence to strengthen her position in discussions. Yet these talking points appear undermined by actual performance metrics. The traditional wisdom holds that statistics tell the truth when words might not, and current figures paint an unflattering picture of the situation. Time appears to be running short for Collier, and questions arise about whether she should remain on the committee engaged in discussions with ownership. Her presence in these conversations seems increasingly problematic and inappropriate given the circumstances surrounding her other business ventures. The conduct displayed throughout this process raises serious concerns.
It's looking like big-time goofies of the year, bruh. I just gotta be honest, dog. At this point, Napheesa Collier is running out of time, and she need to be taken off the committee to be speaking to the owners and stuff. There's no way in hell she should be speaking to the owners at all at this point in time, man. It is downright distasteful and disgraceful with the buffoonery that she has been doing. I mean, just the other day, she said, I am.
Shifting focus to the primary matter at hand, the WNBPA's reaction to Caitlin Clark's comments regarding the compressed timeline amid CBA negotiations. Last month, the Indiana Fever superstar emphasized the necessity for the WNBA and the Women's Basketball Players Association to establish a path forward for basketball in 2026. The upcoming season faces genuine uncertainty as the league and players' union remain deadlocked on a fresh collective bargaining agreement. Tonight marks the deadline, yet no resolution has emerged. Clark articulated her perspective clearly, stating this represents the most significant moment in WNBA history, something that cannot be mishandled. She emphasized the determination to secure everything deserved.
She has been doing. I mean, just the other day, she said, I am heartbroken to share that I will miss. No, well, yeah, she missed the Unrivaled season. This is actually an old article here, but we're going to skip past this and we're going to get right to that action. And that action is this right here. WBPA Chiefs response to Caitlin Clark's message of compressed and amid of CBA talks. It stated last month, Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark spoke of the need of WNBA and Women's Basketball Players Association to find a way.
During her U.S. basketball training camp at Duke, Clark noted that fans hunger for this, and everyone craves the product on the court. Finding a method to conduct next season holds paramount importance. The WNBA and WNBPA are positioned to transition into status quo conditions. A previous breakdown explained what status quo entails in this context. The union maintains firm positions on critical demands, particularly wanting substantial revenue sharing incorporated into any new CBA agreement. The fundamental issue remains that players seek financial commitments the league claims it cannot currently provide.
Find a way to play basketball in 2026. As it stands, the coming season is in some jeopardy. The league and the players union still have not agreed on a new collective bargaining agreement. Now it's set to the deadline is tonight. We still have no update. Caitlin Clark said this is the biggest moment of the WNBA has ever seen. It is not something that could be messed with, and we're going to fight for everything that we deserve. Caitlin Clark stated during her U.S. basketball training.
With the cutoff approaching, discussions with Mule and Collier addressed negotiation status, player unity, and why they believe their investments in competing leagues don't represent conflicts of interest. Minnesota Lynx forward Collier and former WNBA MVP Nika Mule both feel that the league, under Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's leadership, has considerable ground yet to cover. An underreported element of these negotiations involves discussions around Engelbert potentially stepping down. Talk of the commissioner's departure hasn't surfaced prominently in quite some time. Could this be the obstacle preventing progress? Previous statements from certain ownership groups suggested desires for Engelbert's removal, though the exact number supporting this remains unclear.
U.S. basketball training camp down at Duke, she stated that's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well, is you want the product on the floor. It is important that we find a way to play next season. Now it's stated the WNBA and the WBPA are preparing to enter a status quo. Now, if you guys did not see the video before this one, I highly recommend you guys do check it out. I broke it all down what the status quo is. The union is not backing off on major demands. They want us to.
If Engelbert maintains her position overseeing operations, this could significantly complicate players' willingness to sign any new agreement, as her departure appears to be a crucial component of their demands. Regarding Clark's statements, Collier expressed complete agreement but feels the league isn't reciprocating appropriately. She believes the players have demonstrated considerable restraint, avoiding unreasonable requests while maintaining respectful and realistic positions. Mule emphasized that the league must genuinely pay attention, listen carefully, and recognize exactly what players bring to negotiations repeatedly. They've occupied the negotiation room attempting to identify solutions that bring both sides closer together, demonstrating flexibility and reasonableness beyond expectations. The disappointing reality is that the league seemingly doesn't recognize scenarios where player victories and league victories align.
Status quo is the union is not backing off on major demands. They want a significant revenue sharing component to be part of the new CBA agreement. And I told y'all earlier, they want money that the league ain't got. The league ain't got the money to share with y'all, but whatever. Now, with the deadline looming, I spoke with Anika and Napheesa Collier about the state of negotiation, player unity, why they believe their stakes in other leagues are not conflicts of interest among those options. Now, however, Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier.
Despite whatever circumstances exist, both parties somehow cannot identify solutions that would guarantee a 2026 season. There are indications Clark's prominence might be leveraged going forward to achieve agreement. However, this status quo arrangement signals that a strike looms ahead. Under status quo conditions, based on earlier information, the WBPA committee possesses authority to implement strikes or respond to lockouts from ownership without requiring full player votes. The committee itself holds power to take action on what appears increasingly likely to occur.
Napheesa Collier and former WNBA MVP Anika Gumake think the league, led by Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, has more ground to be covered. Now, I do want to let y'all know this is something that has not been talked about. Is part of the negotiation is for Kathy to step down. Now, we haven't heard about Kathy leaving for a mighty long time. Could this be what's holding everything up? Now, we've seen other owners in the past pretty much say that, hey, we want Kathy gone too, but we don't know how many owners actually said it.
Approximately 6 hours remain before potential developments emerge. Regardless of outcomes, critical milestones remain unaddressed. The lottery draft hasn't occurred, and the WNBA draft awaits. Numerous aspects of league operations will face disruption from these stalled negotiations. Earlier warnings suggested that failure to reach agreement by March would prove catastrophic. January's midpoint approaches rapidly, with February still ahead.
I'd have to go live, and I'd have to read it for an hour and a half. I was like, there's no way. And I will go through it all because considering what's already come out, there's no telling how many dumb things is in there. I am baffled by how dumb these players are. I'm just keeping it real. The thought process tells me they have no idea what's going on. And by the way, you got conflicting messages now officially.
Free agency processes, training camps, drafts, and various preparation components all demand time before actual season commencement. USA basketball commitments arrive in September, adding further complications. Without resolution within the next 60 days, the entire season faces genuine jeopardy. This timeline poses serious threats to the whole landscape. The cascading effects would impact everyone involved significantly, and these warnings deserve serious consideration as the deadline approaches and both sides remain entrenched in their positions.
Well, you got conflicting messages now officially between Agumake and what Breonna Stewart said. Breonna Stewart was like, yeah, we're going to keep negotiating. We feel good about blah, 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 blah. It had almost a little bit of a positive tone to it. Agumake, no, I might do a separate video on that. Let's check out this comment before we go any further. It's got tagged for me from Fever Soldier on Twitter. That's a good follow. Also follow me, by the way, at Rhodes Rants.
The collective bargaining agreement deadline of 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time has passed for the WNBA and team ownership, as well as the players' union. Following the deadline, ESPN released an extensive interview featuring Napheesa Collier and Nneka Ogwumike that generated significant attention. The interview's length makes comprehensive analysis challenging, but several statements from the players have raised eyebrows. The strategic thinking displayed by certain players appears questionable, suggesting potential confusion about the negotiation dynamics. Notably, conflicting messages have emerged between Ogwumike's statements and previous comments from Breonna Stewart.
Soldier on Twitter, that's a good follow. Also follow me, by the way, at Rhodes Rants. And subscribe to this YouTube channel and make sure you're still subscribed. Because YouTube still wants to unsubscribe people. By the way, you guys are resubscribing in droves. It is unbelievable how many people got unsubscribed and still are having to resubscribe. So this comment came from the ESPN interview that I am talking about. And this actually rolled out of Nneka Ogwumike's mouth.
Ogwumike's statement suggests a willingness to receive compensation funded by revenue streams outside the WNBA itself, rather than earnings generated by the league independently. This position essentially advocates for continued subsidization from external sources, including NBA profits or other ownership holdings, regardless of whether the WNBA operates profitably. The comment implies an expectation that as long as ownership appears wealthy, compensation should increase irrespective of the league's financial performance. This perspective has drawn criticism, as the league has never generated profit throughout its existence. Such statements in interviews may be damaging the player's public standing.
Ogwumike's mouth. Quote, the league and teams saying that they're losing money is like saying their pockets are empty, while you're also holding the keys to a brand new Ferrari. Now, you may be like, well, Rhodes, I'm sure these owners can afford Ferraris. You would probably be right. However, do you know how these owners made their money to buy said Ferrari? It wasn't with...
Both Collier and Ogwumike have invoked Caitlin Clark's name in their messaging, though their positions appear contradictory to Clark's stated views. During the strike authorization vote, 3 players reportedly opposed the measure, with speculation suggesting Clark was among the dissenters. Her subsequent public comments seem to confirm a different philosophical approach to the situation. Clark's statement during a Team USA basketball training camp at Duke emphasized, "This is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. We're going to fight for everything we deserve."
Made their money to buy said Ferrari? It wasn't with the proceeds from the WNBA. It was from the proceeds from the NBA and other business entities, including for one owner, like Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, an NFL team. She's telling you right here, we're willing and we want to keep getting paid off the backs of the NBA or any. They don't even care where the money comes from now. They don't.
At the same time, we need to play basketball, and that's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well, is you want the product on the floor. It's important that we find a way to play next season. In their ESPN interview, Union President Ogwumike and Vice President Collier claimed alignment with Clark's position that compromise is necessary given the high stakes. However, their subsequent comments suggest less than full agreement with Clark's perspective.
Or any, they don't even care where the money comes from now. They don't want the league to pay for them or itself. As long as they perceive our owner as being rich out there, they want something for nothing. I saw this comment and just shook my head. I said, you got to be kidding me. And by the way, the players are looking worse and worse and worse. Maybe they ought to quit doing interviews. And then quotes like this won't keep popping out. I mean, honestly.
While stating they agree with Clark, much of their discussion focused on perceived inflexibility from league management. The degree of their actual alignment with Clark's viewpoint remains unclear. Ogwumike stated, I think we've been very compromising, like we're not asking for anything crazy. I think we've been very respectful, very realistic with what we're asking, and we are compromising. She described experiencing resistance from the WNBA that feels disappointing and surprising, leading to pessimism about reaching a new CBA promptly.
I mean, honestly. That's crazy. They didn't pay it for with the WNBA proceeds. The league's never turned a profit. I saw this and I just shook my head. I couldn't believe it. So now, Napheesa Collier and Nikki Ogwumike are now channeling Caitlin Clark. Oh, when all else fails and we're not getting enough. We're not getting enough love. We'll try to. All else fails, and we're not getting enough. We're not getting enough love. We'll try to pull the Caitlin Clark card. Except, it certainly sounds to me like they disagree with Caitlin Clark. Now, you remember when they put it to a vote, the strike vote, and we found out that there were 3 people out there, 3 players that didn't agree to do it. And we speculated that Caitlin Clark was one of the players. And then her comments came out. In fact, I think she made the